Hari Om. We shall chant from verse number 10, chapter 2, Valli 4, verse 10. Yadeveha tadamutra yad amutra tadanviha mrityo samrityam apnoti ya iha naneva pashyati manase vedam aptavyam nehana nasti kinchana mrityo samrityam gacchati ya iha naneva pashyati angushtamatra purushaha madhya atmani tishtati Ishano bhuta bhavyasya natato vijugupsate etad vaitat. So etad vaitat, this is that what you had asked. So Nachiketa had asked about that supreme truth, about one's own self, which is different from dharma, adharma, which is different from past and future, which is different from cause and effect, which remains even when the body falls off or when the ego dies. So through various ways that truth is indicated. It is that which expresses as this world. The one supreme reality alone expresses as Hiranyagarbha, the firstborn, and that alone is expressing as this whole world. It is one which appears like this many. It is one only. Because of our identification with one particular body, it seems to be many. But really it is only the play of one. Just as if one lighted agarbatti in a dark room, if you turn it, move it, it appears in different shape, in different forms, but it is one point alone. Similarly, this is only one reality which appears like many. So the first expression is of that Hiranyagarbha, which was born before the elements. In order to help us to contemplate, the scripture says you can imagine that Purusha as the size of your thumb. So Angushtamatra Purushaha Madhya Atmani Tishtati, as though lying inside this body, inside our heart, of the size of a thumb. This is just for the sake of our upasana. So it is subtle. One is we imagine that Supreme in some particular form outside. So we take a murti and do the puja, or we take a photograph or some objects of this world, a river, a mountain, or the sun, the moon, or the tree, or some animal. But that is outside. This is little subtle, wherein we have to worship, meditate on that Purusha within our own heart. And of the size of the thumb means a small image we can imagine, and we meditate on that image. Even if we imagine that image as whatever Ishta Devta we have, as Ram or Krishna or Shiva, that is also fine. But here the scripture talks about it of the size of the thumb. So it is just to make our mind more single-pointed and focused. So when we worship, when we meditate, our mind becomes more and more pure. When the mind goes within, it becomes pure. When it goes outside, it becomes impure. When one thinks about the Vishaya, objects, different types of desires and different sankalpa, vikalpa arises. But when we think about that self within, then the mind becomes more and more quiet. It is like the light when it is put in a place which is dark, then you can see the light clearly. But when it is focused on a source of light, we can't see it. Similarly, when the mind is focused in the world outside, then its play is seen. But when it is turned within, towards its source, it slowly it dissolves into that source. So this is a very beautiful upasana which a seeker should sincerely follow. So imagine that Purusha in your own heart and meditate on that Purusha. And that Purusha is Ishano Bhuta Bhavyasya, is the Lord or the Master of the past as well as the future. Na tato vijugupsate, and one who recognizes that Purusha becomes free of all fear. One comes to know that that is my own self, that is what I am. I am that Purusha. I am not what I think I am, this body, mind, intellect, but I am that Purusha. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So na tato vijugupsate, thereafter there is no fear. Etadvai tata, this is that what you had asked, hey Nachiketa. Yamraji continues now. Angushtamatra Purushaha Jyotirivadhumakaha Ishano Bhuta Bhavyasya Saevadya Saushvaha Etadvaitata Angushtamatra Purushaha Jyotirivadhumakaha. Again the similar thought is conveyed. Ki Angushtamatra Purushaha is of the size, but one need not understand that it is only of that size. It's all pervading. But in order to help us in our meditation, it is indicated as the size of our thumb. Angushtamatra Purushaha. Jyotihi iva adhumakaha. It is like, one should imagine that supreme reality as the very is as like light, like fire, brilliant light like fire, adhumakaha, without smoke, smokeless fire, as pure consciousness, free from all smoke of thoughts, vrittis, or any disturbances, pure like fire, like bright light. So one can imagine that Purusha as of the nature of light, illumining the world within, our mind, our thoughts, intellect, everything is illumined by that Purusha, and he also illumines the world outside. Everything is illumined by that Purusha alone, who is free from all smoke, means pure consciousness, free from all dirt, free from all impurities. Adhumakaha. So Angushtamatra Purusho Jyotirivad Adhumakaha. it is not touched by any impurity. See, our body might become impure, our senses might become impure, but that self remains ever pure. Ishano bhuta bhavyasya, it is the Lord of the past and the future. So one may feel that, okay, it was the Lord of the past and future, but what about now? He says, Sa eva adya, he is the Lord now also. Everything happens according to by the blessings and by the power of that Supreme Purusha alone. So, Sa eva adyaha and Sa ushvaha, and that alone will be tomorrow. So now also the same Purusha is there. Tomorrow also same Purusha. Past, future, the same Purusha. See, when we use the term Purusha, some people might get confused, because first time when we come, we hear it is said Atma, then again we use the word Purusha. Sometimes we say Brahma, sometimes we say Sat, Chit, Ananda. So different terms are used. They are like all pointers, pointing toward the Supreme. Whenever the world is indicated as Prakriti, that is indicated as Purusha. Purusha means which pervades the entire Prakriti, which is the substratum of this Prakriti and pervades the entire Prakriti. When we want to indicate that Supreme as all pervading, as infinite, we use the term Brahma. When it is indicated as the witness of this world, we use the term Atma. So different words are used to indicate the same reality. So etad vaitata, this is that, what you had asked. So this is with firmness, Yamraj is saying that this is that. Further, he says, Yathodakam durge vrishtam parvateshu vidhavati evam dharman prathak pashyan tanevanu vidhavati yathodakam durge vrishtam parvateshu vidhavati yatha udakam, just as water means rain. Durge vrishtam, which falls on a mountain. When it rains on a mountain, then what happens? On a parvateshu, durge parvateshu, on an inaccessible mountain. When it falls, then it goes in different direction. Vidhavati, it goes in different directions. In the same way, evam dharman prathak pashyan. In the same way, those who see all objects of this world and everything as different, those who see differences, they also start going after them. Just as the water moves in different direction, they also go after all these objects. And in the bargain, we get more and more entangled in this world. Tanevanu vidhavati. Seeing all as different, we run after this object. So here one thing we have to understand is that if we have the vision that everything is different, then it creates more desires in our mind. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan talks about 3 types of vision: Sattvic, Rajasic, and yes. So Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic vision. Vision means our philosophy, our way of looking at this world. Tamasic vision is when we take one object of this world or one phenomena or one aspect of the world and think that itself is everything. Some people get totally caught up in one aspect of life. Even on path of religion, they will take one narrow view and they think that that itself is everything. Or in life, we take one aspect, like some people think that wealth itself is everything, or fame itself is everything, or pleasure itself is everything, or my family itself is everything, or shadi itself is everything. Whatever, different one aspect is taken and that itself is given more importance. Their whole life moves around that one object of this world. That is called narrow vision, fanatic vision. Such people become fanatic. They are not aware of anything other than that one object. Anyone in tune with that object and with their philosophy, they like them. Those who are not in tune, they dislike them. So it's a narrow vision, tamasic vision. Rajasic vision is when we see everything. We have a broader vision. We see everything of this world, different aspect of this world, we are aware. But we have the notion that all of them are different. All of them have some different speciality, uniqueness. And when we have that notion, we want to experience everything separately. We want to acquire everything, because whatever is there new, the mind wants it. So if I think that, okay, so for example, those who are interested in some pleasure, they feel that, okay, I have got this pleasure in this object and that other object is different. So let me go and acquire that object also. If I have gained some happiness in this place, maybe that place is more interesting. I will get more happiness there. Or the other place is more interesting. There I will go. So they develop lots of desires in their heart. And that is what is happening in modern time actually. That desires, those who are producing various types of objects, they also know the psychology. So every time they will come up with something new, something slightly different. Number 5 and all. So something different they will bring. And then everyone, oh, इसमें ये features है, ये थोड़ा सा अलग है, इसमें if I get it, I will get some greater joy. So those desires come. So that is the very nature of that vision itself, which creates more and more desires, and one runs after these objects in the world. And that is what is indicated here in this verse, that just like the water when it falls on the mountain, it flows in different, it doesn't go in one stream, it flows in different direction. Because every drop of water will have its own path and own ways. It will think that this is the better path, so it follows that. Some other drop follows some other path. But other than this, the greatest vision which we should have, highest vision which we can have, is sattvic vision, wherein we should understand that however different we can see this world, there is an underlying oneness in everything. And if we are tuned to that oneness, then we don't have to go places, we don't have to go toward different objects, one doesn't have to go in different times, because that one thing is present in all places, in all times, in all situations. So if we have the vision, if we have the ability to connect to that one, we will remain undisturbed in different circumstances. So that is called the highest vision. That is the vision of a great saint, that is the vision of a great sadhak, who keeps a vision of oneness, sattvic vision. Therefore, the mind doesn't get disturbed by new things, so-called new things. Because all the objects, first of all the objects of this world are experienced only by 5 sense organs. There is nothing in this world which can be experienced by something. It's a 6th sense. We don't have a 6th sense organ. Only 5. All that we experience is experienced by these 5. And all that we experience finally come into our mind in the form of thoughts. Whether I touch, I taste, this, it all comes into our mind. So the world, whatever I am experiencing, is in the mind itself. There is nothing new. If I go to some new place, nothing new will happen. That will also be experienced in my mind. If I go in the other world also, in outer space, that also will be experienced in the mind. Mind is experience, and what we experience in the mind, the happiness and peace, depends on the quality of the mind. If the mind starts becoming more and more pure and what you call steady, we experience happiness. All of us are seeking happiness. So those who have this vision that everything is ultimately one, their mind will remain more peaceful and will be able to experience that peace and happiness everywhere. But others, they run after all these objects like this water which run in every direction. Tulsidas ji also gives similar example in the Ramayana, and he also connects that with our mind. He says that just as a pure thought, the pure water, when it falls, it is pure. Pure in the sense if the air is pure, Otherwise nowadays all acid rain and all. But just assume the air is pure, unpolluted. The water which comes down is pure. But as soon as it touches the earth, it gets connected with the dirt and becomes impure. And during rainy season and all, you find muddy water flowing everywhere. And then they go and settle in a place which has some depression and all. There the water goes and settles down. But if continues raining, then it continues being dirty. Then after the rainy season, the water remains there and slowly the dirt settles down. And when the dirt settles down, once again we see pure water. Similarly, our thoughts, which are the mind, which is arising from that supreme Purusha only, from that Mahat which is pure by nature. But when it gets connected with this world, with Vishaya, with different objects and all, it starts becoming dirty. So if we just settle down, just meditate, let the mind be steady for some time, then all the dirt will settle down and we will experience the pure mind. So simple meditation technique is to just sit quietly, doing nothing. Not whole day, Others will complain. Doing nothing, thinking nothing, just be in the present moment itself. The mind will slowly calm down and become absolutely pure, and in that pure mind we will be able to see our own self. The mind will be like a mirror in which we will be able to experience our own self. So that is conveyed in this verse in a negative way, that when we see differences, then the mind runs after these different objects, like the waters which run in different direction. So evam dharman pruthak pashyan, so one who sees pruthak differences, tane vanu vidhavati, it runs after those objects. But those who have this vision of oneness, those who make their mind more and more pure, then what happens? That is now indicated in the next verse. Yathodakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam tadrugeva bhavati evam muner vijanatah atma bhavati gautama yathodakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam tadrugeva bhavati evam muner vijanatah atma bhavati gautama. Hey Gautama. Now who is this Gautama? He is Nachiketa only. So he is Hey Nachiketa, ki yatha udakam, just as water, shuddhe shuddham, when it is absolutely pure, when it is poured in, when you have a glass of water or some water which is pure, when it is poured in another pure water lake or something, then what happens? Tadrugeva bhavati. The water becomes one with that water. The water becomes one with water. Yathodakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam, poured, tadrugeva bhavati. It becomes like that only. Evam muner vijanatah. In the same way, the muni, the contemplative seeker, who knows, who gains that knowledge, that seeker, atma bhavati, he becomes that atma. Hey Gautama. What does it mean? It means that just as water, when it is separated from the, let us say a fresh water lake is there, and you take one bucket of water, and then that water gets mixed up with so much of dirt and this and that, and then it doesn't look like that original water alone. But when it becomes more and more pure, and that pure water, when you pour it back into that lake, it becomes one with that lake. You don't see any difference. You will not be able to recover that water which you had poured, the same water. If dirty water you have poured, then it will be seen there. But dirty water cannot be poured in this lake. So here we are talking about the lake is like that Purusha. And that water is like our own mind, which is separated, which experience separation as though from that Purusha. The sense of I which we have in the mind, it experiences the sense of separation from that Purusha. So our sadhana is to make this mind, chitta or mind, more and more pure. When the chitta becomes as pure as that Purusha, then one attains that state of kaivalya, attains the state of oneness with that Purusha. It's just like worldly example if I have to give, it's like catching a running train. So train is running, moving, you have reached late because you wasted time, you did not start on time, then somehow you run and reach the station, the platform, and the train is already moving. Not metro. Metro, I think they closed the door and all. Our local trains, Bombay local. So when you see it moving and you want to catch it, then you also run along with the train. Train is moving, so you also run. When the speed of the train and your speed becomes one, you can jump into the train. If your speed is less than the speed of the train, then you cannot jump. It is not good to jump. But when the speed becomes same, you can jump. Similarly, when the purity of our mind is as good as the purity of the pure self, what does it mean? It means the mind becomes absolutely sattvic. When the mind becomes sattvic, there is no difference between the reflection, the reflected consciousness becomes one with that consciousness. One doesn't see any difference. Just as we see the reflection of the sun in the bucket of water, if the water is dirty, the reflection is not clear. But as the water becomes more and more clear, the reflection becomes as pure as the original. When that happens, the reflection as though merges with the original. Similarly, when our chitta becomes as pure sattva gun, then the drashta, the seer, gets established in his own swarup. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Gets established in his own swarup. So that is the idea. So yathodakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam tadrigeva bhavati evam munehe. So here munehe, that word is used to show that the seeker is a contemplative sage. Muni means manana shilavan, one who is contemplative. Through contemplation, the mind becomes more and more sattvic. Through contemplation, we gain vairagya, we do abhyas, the mind becomes more and more sattvic. And when it becomes absolutely shuddha, there is no disturbance of rajogun, no desire disturbing the mind, and there is no disturbance of tamogun, there is no alas, nidra, pramad. When the mind is absolutely still, one experiences oneself as God. As Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, if you want to know God, be still and know that you are God. So that stillness of the mind is the purity of the mind. When the mind is pure, then it becomes still. When the mind is tired, it goes into sleep. When the mind is filled with all different impurities, it develops different types of desires. But when the mind becomes pure and still, then one reaches that state of enlightenment. So, evam munehe vijanataha atma bhavati Gautama. Hey Gautama, he becomes Atma. He becomes Atma means he gets established in his own self. We are Atma only, but we don't know. We have identified with what we are not. So when our mind becomes pure, we get established in our own self. So thus concludes this Valli, the fourth Valli section of this second chapter. So iti Kathopanishadi dvitiya adhyaye Chaturthi Valli. So now we will meditate. Many people in the name of meditation they get up and go home. But you can go, those who want to go. लगता है meditation अरे खत्म हो गया चलो जाइए. But meditation is also part of this pravachan. Take a deep breath. Become aware of your breathing. Bring your attention in the present moment. The present moment itself is real. Past is in the memory. Future is just an imagination. What is real is present. And what is real in the present is you. You are the real. Everything else which you think are there are only in your mind. The world is in your mind. You are real. You are that one who has projected this world. You are pure existence. You are the consciousness who is aware of the world, who is aware of everything. So just withdraw the world into yourself. Swallow the world as though just remain as a witness. Uninterested witness. Identify with the witness, not with what you are witnessing. पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।